You know what's wild? Most older men think attraction disappears because of age. They blame wrinkles, gray hair, slower energy, maybe even the dating world changing. But honestly, that's usually not the reason she loses interest. The real reason is way more subtle. It's a moment. A tiny moment most men don't even notice. And by the time they realize it happened, the attraction is already slipping away. And here's the crazy part. Younger guys miss it too. But older men especially fall into this trap because they think attraction is about proving value, being good enough, or trying not to mess things up. Meanwhile, the woman is sitting there thinking, why do I suddenly feel disconnected from him? Not because he's older. Not because he's not handsome. Not because he doesn't have money. But because of the energy shift that happened in one specific moment. And once you understand this, your entire dating life changes. Because women are constantly reading emotional presence. Constantly. Even when they don't realize they're doing it consciously. A woman can meet a man who isn't perfect, isn't rich, isn't built like a movie star, and still feel deeply drawn to him because of how he makes her feel emotionally safe and emotionally alive at the same time. That combination is rare. Most men only create one side of it. They either become too safe and predictable, or they try too hard to seem impressive and lose authenticity completely. And this moment I'm talking about, it usually happens right after attraction starts building. Everything feels good at first. She's smiling more, she's leaning in, the texting feels easy, the conversations flow. There's warmth there. Then suddenly, the man changes. His behavior tightens up. He starts monitoring himself, overthinking, seeking reassurance. Instead of staying connected to the moment, he enters performance mode. And women feel that shift immediately. It's almost like the emotional version of watching somebody trip while trying too hard to look cool. You can feel the confidence disappear in real time. And listen, this isn't about pretending not to care. Women can smell fake confidence from a mile away. The problem is when a man stops being present because he becomes obsessed with protecting himself from rejection. That's the moment attraction drops. You know what women rarely talk about openly? How exhausting it feels when a man suddenly needs her to manage his confidence for him. That changes the emotional dynamic instantly. Now she's no longer experiencing him. She's emotionally babysitting him. And that kills tension fast. You've probably seen this happen. A guy starts asking weird questions out of nowhere. Are you still into me? Did I do something wrong? Why are you taking longer to text back? You still find me attractive, right? And look, we all need reassurance sometimes. That's human. But when it becomes constant validation seeking, the emotional polarity disappears. Because confidence is not loudness. Confidence is emotional steadiness. That's what creates attraction over time, especially for older men. Younger guys can sometimes get away with chaos because there's novelty and excitement carrying them. But older men, women are evaluating emotional maturity differently. A woman in her 40s, 50s, or even 60s usually isn't looking for a man who acts like an insecure teenager, trapped in a grown man's body. She wants depth, grounded energy, a man who can handle emotional tension without collapsing under it. And weirdly enough, that's where older men actually have a huge advantage if they stop sabotaging themselves. Because calm, masculine energy is incredibly attractive. Not boring, not robotic, calm. There's a difference. A calm man can flirt, he can laugh, he can be playful, he can be sexy. But there's a centeredness to him. He's not constantly fishing for proof that he matters. And women relax around that energy. You know what instantly makes a woman emotionally tense? Feeling like she's being evaluated every second. Some men go into dates acting like they're applying for a job. They're trying to say the perfect thing, trying to impress, trying to avoid mistakes. Meanwhile, the woman is thinking, can this guy just breathe? Attraction grows in emotional freedom. That's why some men who aren't objectively the most attractive still have incredible dating lives. They create emotional ease. Women don't feel pressure around them. And here's the part most men miss. The moment she starts opening up emotionally is usually the exact moment he becomes too careful. He thinks, oh wow, she really likes me, don't screw this up. So he stops teasing, stops being spontaneous, stops speaking honestly. He becomes polite, safe, predictable, emotionally cautious. And suddenly the chemistry feels flatter. Not because she lost attraction randomly, because the emotional rhythm changed. Think about the early stage of attraction like dancing. There's movement, energy, curiosity. Then one person suddenly freezes because they're afraid of stepping wrong. The dance dies instantly. A lot of older men unknowingly become approval seekers in relationships because they think consistency means eliminating tension completely. But attraction needs emotional contrast, not drama. Contrast, playfulness, mystery, confidence, presence, warmth, all working together. And women notice when a man loses his spark, trying too hard to secure the relationship. Ironically, the more desperate a man becomes to keep attraction, the faster he weakens it. Because attraction isn't controlled through pressure, it's invited through emotional experience. That's why some women stay obsessed with a man who simply made them feel deeply seen, relaxed, feminine, and emotionally alive around him. Not because he chased endlessly, not because he begged, not because he performed perfectly, but because he stayed grounded in himself. And let's talk about another mistake older men make. They confuse emotional suppression with strength. Huge mistake. Women don't want emotionally dead men. They want emotionally regulated men. That's different. A man who never expresses anything can feel disconnected and cold. But a man who expresses himself without emotional panic? That's powerful. There's something deeply attractive about a man who can say, yeah, I like you, without sounding terrified afterward. That emotional stability feels masculine. Not macho, not aggressive, not emotionally unavailable, stable. A lot of men grew up believing attraction comes from status alone. Money, success, achievements. And yes, those things can create attention. But attention is not the same as emotional desire. A woman can admire a man and still not feel emotionally drawn to him. You've seen relationships where the guy looks perfect on paper, but the chemistry feels dead. That's because attraction lives in emotional experience more than logical qualifications. And older men actually become more attractive when they stop trying to compete like younger men. That's where many guys go wrong. They start trying to prove they're still youthful instead of embracing mature confidence. Listen, there's nothing more attractive than a man comfortable in his own skin, a man who isn't apologizing for aging, a man who carries experience with confidence instead of shame. That energy is magnetic. Because confidence at this stage of life looks different. It's slower, cleaner, less reactive. You don't need to dominate every conversation. You don't need cheesy pickup lines. You don't need to act like a TikTok dating coach screaming in front of a rented Lamborghini. Thank God, you just need emotional presence. And honestly, that's rare now. Most people are distracted, anxious, performing, scrolling, comparing. A man who is fully present during conversation instantly stands out. Eye contact, relaxed body language, listening without trying to win. That's powerful, and women absolutely notice it. You know what else kills attraction fast? Trying to force constant communication. Some men panic if there's silence for 5 minutes. Relax. Not every pause means rejection. Emotionally secure people don't catastrophize normal space. When a man stays calm during uncertainty, it signals inner confidence, and confidence creates emotional safety. That's why emotionally grounded men often age incredibly well in dating. Not because they look younger, but because their energy feels calmer, more masculine, and more emotionally trustworthy. Meanwhile, insecure energy ages a man instantly. You can feel desperation, you can feel approval seeking, and women respond emotionally before they respond logically. That's why a woman might say, "I don't know, something just felt off." That off feeling is usually emotional incongruence. The man's words say confidence, but his energy says fear, and women pick up on that mismatch immediately. This is also why humor matters so much. A man who can laugh at himself without collapsing emotionally shows strength. Not taking yourself too seriously is attractive because it communicates. I'm secure enough to stay relaxed. That's powerful masculine energy. And no, this doesn't mean becoming emotionally detached. Some men hear this kind of advice and suddenly try acting cold. Terrible idea. Women aren't looking for robots. The goal isn't emotional distance, it's emotional steadiness. Big difference. You can care deeply without becoming emotionally needy. You can desire a woman without placing your self-worth in her hands. That's the balance. And honestly, once a man understands this, dating becomes way less exhausting. Because he stops performing. He stops chasing perfection. He stops treating every interaction like a test he must pass. Instead, he becomes more authentic, more relaxed, more attractive naturally. And women feel that shift immediately. One of the sexiest things a man can do is stay emotionally composed during vulnerable moments, not emotionless, composed. There's a calm confidence in a man who doesn't unravel every time uncertainty appears. Because relationships always contain uncertainty. Always. No amount of texting tricks or dating hacks removes that. Real confidence is handling uncertainty without losing yourself. That's maturity. And ironically, maturity is exactly what creates deeper attraction for many women, especially as they get older too. At some point, people stop chasing surface-level excitement and start craving emotional quality. Connection, ease, depth, playfulness, trust. And if you can create those feelings while still maintaining masculine confidence, you become unforgettable. Not because you manipulated her, because you made her feel something real. And honestly, that's what most people are starving for now. Realness, not performances, not games, not fake alpha nonsense. Just grounded confidence mixed with emotional intelligence. That combination is ridiculously attractive. So the next time you feel attraction building with a woman, notice what happens inside you. Do you stay relaxed and connected? Or do you suddenly start trying to secure her? Because that's the moment most men lose her attraction. Not during some huge dramatic mistake, but during the subtle shift from authentic presence into fearful performance. And once you stop making that shift, everything changes. Not overnight, not magically, but deeply. Because women don't just respond to what you say. They respond to how they feel around you. And the men who understand that usually become the men women never forget. If this hit a little too close to home, good. That means you're paying attention. And honestly, awareness is where confidence actually starts. So keep working on the part of you that stays grounded even when attraction grows. because that's the version of you women trust, respect, and genuinely desire.